You do not have to settle. You do not have to settle. In case you need to hear that today, I want to make sure that you hear me loud and clear. You do not have to settle. Period. Uh, I am operating from a place of belief that everything that I want is available and accessible to me, and I do not have to scramble and grab and cling and make limited choices because there's only so much to go around, or there's only so few options, or the things that I want, they're not really available the way that I want them to be. They are. They are. This world is way too huge for anything that you desire to not be available to you. So, whereas I think we're conditioned to kind of like fight each other and climb on top of each other and be competitive in an unhealthy way. I think some competition's okay. But I mean, in an unhealthy and toxic way. Like, we think, oh, she's got X, so I'll never have it because she landed that job, so I can't. There's only room for one, or whatever the case may be. That ain't the case. I used to be so clingy when I was younger and so desperate. I think in part because when I was a kid, we didn't have much. We didn't have much when I was a kid, on a consistent basis anyway. And so I just like would be so disappointed when things did not go my way. Like, if my parent promised to do X, and then the day came and then they couldn't do X for one reason or another, be it money or time, or they just didn't want to because they were exhausted. uh, I would be so angry. And I think it was because in my mind it was like, oh, since it didn't happen, it's just not going to happen. I remember anytime I would get money, that money would burn a hole in my pocket because I just didn't have it on a regular basis. So I was like, oh, I got to spend it now because I don't know if there's going to be more. The idea of saving for a rainy day, it didn't really, I didn't really connect with that until I got much, much older in life. And so now here I am at the age of 50, and unlearning a lot of things uh, when it comes to money and labor and hustle and the life that I want to live and who I want to embody and how I want to bloom and things like that. And even the people that I want to be around, the relationships that I want to have. Like, I don't have to just take whatever's out there. And at times, especially when it comes to like relationships and things like that, it can get a little bit lonely. And it's not like I'm intentionally like isolating to where I like don't want to, you know, have a lot of friends or things like that. But I can't tell you how draining it is, or maybe I can, how draining it is to involve yourself in relationships, and you invest, your time, your energy, your whatever, and then things don't pan out. And I think that in the past, or I know in the past, I was so desperate to have friends that I would just latch on. Latch on. You know how, first of all, black women, a lot of times we're very familiar. We have that sense of familiarity. At least the women that I've, talked to or been around or whatever. And so for me, it was just like, I gotta latch on to people because I'm not sure when a good person's really gonna come around, or when I'll have the opportunity to have friends. And so I would like just really give that energy of like over giving and people pleasing and things like that, because I felt like I had to just take what was there, or there may not be another option for me. And I'm not saying that as in the people were necessarily bad. It's not that. It's more so this is about just the reasons why I was trying to like make friends or whatever. And again, I don't have to settle. And I settled for a long time in my life, settled in relationships, like I said, just settled in so many ways, careers, whatever. But I have finally come to understand and come to terms with the fact that I don't have to do that. Even if it means my reality, like what is in front of me right this minute, is not the reality that I desire. I do not have to just take whatever it is that is being offered at the moment in the hopes that it'll be what I want, in the hopes that it'll be good enough, in the hopes that it'll work out, in the hopes that it'll align at some point down the line, even if it doesn't align right now. Like, I don't want to do things that are not in alignment with the type of life I want to live, with the type of energy I want to be around, with the type of abundance I'm calling in, with the type of beliefs that are beneficial to me. Like, I just, I'm not settling. I'm not going to settle again in this life. Like, you don't have to. And the thing is, we're taught as black women, or we're shown in many ways, that, for example, in relationships, especially with the opposite sex, like, you gotta take what you can get. You're not getting any younger. Uh, in other words, like, you don't have options the older that you get. And if that's true, I'm still not settling. Okay, I have been single for a long time, and I will remain single and continue to uh, focus on me, because I ain't built for that. I ain't settling. I don't want to settle in any part of my life. I don't want to settle at all. I want to get what I want, and I can go after it or be patient or whatever the case may be. But what I'm not going to do is just settle. It's mm-mm, no. So if I'm like, no. So if that sounds like you have been settling for a while, like, sis, I want you to remember, first of all, remember what the hell you bring to the table in this life. Even though you may not have activated certain parts of you yet, don't forget what you bring to the table. Don't forget your brilliance. Don't forget who you are. Don't forget uh, your capabilities, your hopes, your dreams, your ambition, your prayers. Like, don't forget any of that. Okay, uh, you don't have to settle for anything less than what you want. Period. I want you to approach each day like that, because when you refuse to settle, you're going to start taking things off the table that were never really yours to take anyway. I think when we do settle, it just is it's another form of distraction, because a lot of times when we settle, those things are not for you. Those people are not for you. Those experiences are not for you. And you end up getting kind of like not trapped, but stuck in that situation. And you can end up in that situation for weeks, months, years. You wake up and you're like, how the hell did I get here? What happened? Where and when you settle for one thing, it just kind of like sets up this domino effect where it just, your life goes in a different direction than what you intended. So just be mindful. Are you settling in your life today? If so, what area or areas are you settling in? And be honest with it. Be honest. If you can't be honest with anyone, learn to be honest with yourself. Learn to be honest with yourself, and do it in a non-judgmental way. We don't need the judgment. We just need the understanding. We need the understanding. But look and see where you're settling in your life, and think about, like, the reasoning behind that. Was it like a feeling like, oh, I'll never be able to XYZ, or I'll never be able to have, or I can't do da 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 da, or I'm afraid to da da da, which is why, you know what I'm saying? Like, look at the reasoning behind that. I can guarantee you that um a lot of times you are doing something out of fear, and you don't have to be afraid. You really do not have to be afraid. You don't. I think that again, that what is for you, but don't get in your own way by taking less than what is available to you. Again, sometimes you do have to wait. Sometimes you have to have a little patience. Sometimes you have to physically be so determined to do things differently, you know what I mean? And kind of like rewrite your own story, rewrite your own future, and then you'll start to see things lining up. But have the courage in who you are. Have the courage in what's available to you, even if you can't see it. Have the courage to stand firm in the whatever your core values are, and make decisions based on that. Again, you may not see it right now in front of you, but I promise you, if you refuse to settle, you're going to see that vision far faster than if you settle and then just stay in that place. Things that we settle for most times are just going to bring us down, you know. And this is not to say that you can't compromise with certain things. I'm not talking about that. That's a whole different conversation. I want to make sure you know when I talk about settle, you know what I'm talking about. You know what it's like to be in situations that weren't even for you, right? That's the kind of settling I'm talking about. So I refuse to settle. I refuse to really push so hard to make something work. Every time I do that, if you've got to push something so hard, like trying to squeeze a square into a round hole, like if you have to push and fight so hard, you know, to make something make sense, to make something make, like to justify and make something make sense, it's probably not for you. It's probably not meant for you. And there's a reason why it feels so hard to make it work. It's not for you. So I'll leave it at that. But girl, you ain't gotta settle. Girl, you ain't gotta give up on what it is you truly want. You do not have to take the first thing given to you and as if it is something you need to be grateful for to even have. Like, I ain't settling. I don't know about you, but I ain't settling. I'm just not. So do with that information what you will. But thank you so much for watching this journey of transformation that I'm on over the next 90 days. And I've thought about it too. Like, am I going to continue? Like, what's after the 90 days? I don't know. I'm still going to be on the journey of transformation. But I don't know what I want to do after the 90 days. And I'm only like two or so weeks in at this point. So I have time to kind of like just see what's ahead. But I can tell you one thing, I ain't going to be settling regardless of what's ahead. I ain't going to be settling. So, yeah, I'll see you tomorrow.